Hear him on the cultural hall. Hear him on the cultural hall. Him on the cultural hall. Him on the cultural hall.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. As the music would well tell you, it is a Hear Him episode of the Cultural Hall. My name is Richie. I am the host of the Cultural Hall, along with many very talented co-hosts and panelists. Today joining me, because this is a Hear Him episode, is Mr. Mayor, all the way from Texas. Does he have a degree in music? No, he does not. But you know what he does? Loves music and loves everything about the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square.
I have a personally given degree in music.
Yeah.
I have a degree in all the music I like.
Yeah.
I gave myself a PhD in the music I like.
Yeah, PhD in my own degree. He loves the Tabernacle Choir so much that he even loves the Bell Choir at Temple Square. So that, I mean,
and I happen to love the director of the Bell Choir, who is,
and it's not his wife, it's family.
It's my aunt. Yep,
it's your aunt. Yeah.
Yep, my aunt.
I couldn't remember who it was.
Actually, I think she's retiring. Or she has retired. This might be it. She might have already retired, or she is retiring.
She gets one more bell, then they ring the bell. Do they do that?
No, I think she either have one more bell, and I think that's going to be something during July, or it already happened and she's done. So
do they do a bell rendition of God Be With You Till We Meet Again? Because if they don't, when the bell director retires, that is a missed opportunity.
I have no idea, but here's the cool thing. A new member of my ward moved in last year near the end of, like October, and we started talking, and he had been in her choir, her bell choir. And I sent her a picture, and she's like, "Hey, I thought he was overworking so-and-so." And he's like, "No, he moved to Texas." So yeah. So that
is how nerdy music.
And he is now the choir director of my ward.
And he doesn't allow anyone to sing. It's only bells. See, full circle.
We just get up and just do bells.
I would love that, actually.
But they're not the cool bells they do. It's just like those tuned bells that you give to primary kids. Those things.
What you are laughing as if this is silly. I think it's incredible.
I think someone should do it.
I think we should. I don't think it's
an adult version of it.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, they're color coded.
What they should do is also get like those white gloves that they wear.
Yes. Full production for the ladies and the gentlemen, the full breasted tuxedos with tails, the white gloves, even the velvet topped little things for them to rest their bells on, and then ding, ding, ding. They should.
One of my favorite experiences ever, though, was one time when I was in Salt Lake for work. I reached out to my Aunt Leanna, and I said, "Let's go get dinner or something." She says, "I can't. I've got rehearsal, but do you want to come?" So I went, and I just sat, and she gave me the music, and I was able to, because she was my piano teacher. So she's like, "You better be able to read this music."
Sure.
So I sat and you kind of followed along and paid attention. It was a blast. Actually, I had the greatest time just watching a rehearsal of the bell choir.
In fact, we have a recording of your aunt asking you if you would like to come to the bell choir rehearsal. I'm just going to isolate it to your reaction that you gave her. Let's go ahead and play that recording. So that's how excited he was. I'm excited that you got that opportunity. Now that we're several minutes into this Hear Him episode about only a particular hymn, shall we do that? Yes, we shall.
That's good.
Hymn number 1003, It Is Well With My Soul. Tell me about this.
Well, I think, by the way, with this hymn, we need to create a classification, because I think as we hit a lot of these hymns, this being one of them, I'm going to say, this is my favorite hymn of all time.
Of all time?
But I'm thinking we need to have my favorite hymn of all time is really just a classification of hymns, not the one hymn, because if not, I'll say it all the time.
Well, yeah.
Because this is one of those. This is one of those that would fall into that category. And it's one I've known all my life, but it's one that particularly was resonant to me as I watched the story of this hymn told by Hugh Bonneville at the Christmas concert for the Tabernacle Choir.
Okay.
So if you have not watched that, go YouTube it now. It'll be in the show notes. Just click the link. And when you do, don't just do it willy-nilly because you're gonna cry.
Okay,
It's
make a
gonna
focus of it. Have some
make a focus of it.
tissues.
Take the time, get the tissues out, make it a sitting, and actually watch it. It is one of the best narrations, and that's saying a lot because there's some amazing narrations done at the Christmas show, Christmas concerts for the Tabernacle Choir. This is one of the best. So let me tell you a little bit about this hymn. The hymn was written in 1873 by a man named Horatio Spafford, who was a Presbyterian layman. He was a that means he didn't get paid to
Mhm.
be kind of
In
to
layman's
serve
terms.
in the church. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, but we have a lay ministry. Well, we can make
For
an
the most
argument on
part.
that,
Yeah,
but for the most part, that's true.
yeah, tricky, but yeah.
So he had a lot of business dealings that had kind of fallen out. He had a tough time in business, but things were starting to recover, and his family decided to kind of get back on their feet and to kind of build up their morale. And they were going to spend Christmas in France, serving with a ministry there during the Christmas season. So they were preparing to go to France and sail on a boat. They lived in Chicago. Horatio had some business dealings, dealing with a few things because his business really had trouble because of the Great Chicago Fire, and he had some opportunities to take care of. So he sent his family on ahead and said, "I will come in a day or two. So just get started. We don't want to delay our trip." And they already had their tickets, so do that, and I will book passage in a day or two. Well, while his family was traveling over on the ocean towards Europe, their ship called the Ville du Havre, and I'm sure I'm saying that in a that's terrible. It sounds like a Dutch ship, but I don't know for sure. But that ship was hit by a Scottish vessel and went down.
Mm.
And the only survivor was Horatio's wife, and he had four daughters
Oh,
with
geez.
them. So they all
Yes.
they all died on that. Well, as he picked himself up to try to one of the most actually before I get going, one of the most touching things is imagine the wife, just all of her. She was basically found on a piece of wood holding on, and she was saved, and she had lost her all of her family. One of them
Mm.
was a 3 or 4 year old, two other
Mm.
daughters that were kind of in like the low teens, and then one in between. So they all died, and
Jeez.
she sent a telegram to her husband saying, "Saved alone, what shall I do?" Can you
Mm.
imagine sending and receiving that telegram?
Yeah.
And I guess the story goes that Horatio jumped on a boat he was going to anyway, started heading and sailing over that. And as they were nearing the area by that the captain of his ship determined was about the place where it went under. Obviously, they couldn't see anything, all under the water. He called Horatio up to the bridge, and Horatio didn't want to look down. He only wanted to look up because he didn't think of his family as being below the ocean, but was in the sky.
Oh, wow.
And he began forming the idea, which eventually became this hymn. Some people say he started writing it on the trip itself, on his voyage itself, but it's much more likely that he started coming up with the ideas, but it was written later.
Mm.
But the hymn was written specifically in relation to that.
Mm.
It is a harrowing story of faith, and the idea. Well, I didn't put the lyrics in here. I got to pull the lyrics up real quick. I apologize. I'll make sure they're in the
In the
show
show notes.
notes,
Yeah.
for sure. But and I should have them memorized, and I do have some of them memorized. But just to start out with, the first line is, "When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul." And some of the other lines of this are just quite touching. And there's actually a bunch of verses that aren't in our new hymns for home and church that are out there, so you can read those too. But the last one kind of brings it all together. O Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be sight. The heavens be rolled back like a scroll. The trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. So the idea of this is regardless of what our life brings, happiness, joy, we are indebted to Christ, and whatever comes our way, it is well. The hymn teaches us to say it is well with my soul, which is not the easiest thing to do. And you can imagine Horatio thinking of this through that time. This is what comes out of it. Now, his family has a long history beyond this. There's a lot more to it, which I won't spend time here, but it does in the Christmas program. It talks about things they did in Jerusalem, what they did throughout the rest of their life, and how their family went on to do many more things, and had several other kids die of other situations. They only had 2 kids out of 7 live, all the way to 7 or 8. 2 kids out of 7 or 8 live to be adults. They had a tough time of it, and yet this is their legacy. It is well with my soul. So
now you mentioned that there are several
hymn.
verses that are not in it in the new hymnal. So there's what, the 3, the 4, the 5. Is this one that we're going to go, oh, we're singing some more, and we go, oh yeah, we need.
Yeah. So I'll put them all in there. I'll take the original lyrics right out of Wikipedia, because that's
Perfect.
where you can find them all. There's 4 verses in our hymn book, but there's more out there.
All
There's one
written
that's
by.
for me, be it Christ hence to live. If Jordan above me shall roll, no pang shall be mine, for in death as in life, thou wilt whisper thy peace to my soul. That's one I wish was in there. But anyway, there's just a lot that I'll put them in the show notes, make sure that they're all there.
All
And
originally penned by him.
Horatio,
They're not
yep.
like
Those
other
are
ones that have been added. Okay, interesting.
There probably is somewhere, but not these. These are the original lyrics that he penned, and those are the ones I'll stick to in the show notes. But yeah, if you're not familiar with this, you should become. It has been a common one for me at funerals. I have when I moved here to Texas, there was a fellow I met through the missionaries. He had joined the church, and we became really close friends. Last summer, he was diagnosed with cancer. 6 weeks later, he was gone.
Oh, geez.
Me and my wife performed at his funeral. We had performed it at his wife's funeral, and we performed it at Christy's dad's funeral. So it's a good one for funerals, but it's not only a good one for funerals. It's a good one for many aspects of your life. So
yeah, finding your way through trials. When you talk about if there's there's the 5 characterizations of why different hymns would be in the new hymnal. Is there one in particular that you feel like this fits really well, the criteria?
Well, I think like the eyes on my sparrow, comfort the weary and inspire people to endure in faith. That's the whole point of this particular song, right? But also teaching doctrine with power and clarity, because using stories like trials and tribulations to understand how the Lord's atonement helps us, not just in forgiving us of our sins and helping us through everything we have in life. That's a core, in my opinion, a core doctrine, and it definitely increases our faith in the worship of Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ as well.
Yeah. So that is hymn number 1003. It is well with my soul. Mr. Mayor, the work that you do, thank you so much. We continue to do these episodes as we've got still more to do than we've already done. So there will continue to be more Hear Him episodes as we roll these out, maybe with not as much fervor as we have. I get really excited when there's something new. So I've already dropped, as of this recording, a couple of them. Several more will have dropped by the time this comes out. But you can find out more about each of the individual hymns, those that are added and anticipated to be a part of the new print version, by the Hear Him episodes of the Cultural Hall. So you can check those out. You can search those out. And of course, if you haven't put it together yet, it is Hear Him, HearHymn, as in hymn.
That's right.
Hymn.
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 I wonder if there's like a nerdy thing we can find about the word hymn. Like, where does it come from? Maybe I should do that one
I
day.
think you should. I think you should, and I implore you to do it so I don't have to. Andrew, Mr. Mayor, AJ himself, I hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
And if you're not healthy enough to listen this week, you'll be healthy enough to listen next week.
And then when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety.
In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Rick McGee, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
On the back row
of the Cultural
Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really